Good day! This is Mylinda T. Alison from Kalinaw, Kalilintad Integrated Peace School, Kapatagan Central District. I am very much privileged to present to you my research entitled Addressing Learners' Absenteeism Through Positive Discipline in Everyday Teaching Approach, or the PDET approach. I am grateful to the Division of Lanao del Norte for giving me the opportunity and the encouragement to conduct this study to address one of the concerns of the learners in Kalinaw, Kalilintad Integrated Peace School. Let's have the research introduction. One of the most frustrating experiences for teachers is when students are absent. Right, teachers? The teachers prepare lesson plans with the objective that 100% of the class will learn from the day's classroom activities, and it is most fulfilling when all students are present on that day and the days thereafter to ensure utmost learning. Unfortunately, it is very difficult to achieve perfect attendance. No matter how interesting and well-prepared the lessons and the teaching materials are, they are bound to be students who miss out on the day's activities willingly or unwillingly. The researcher would like to lessen this problem, if not eradicate it completely. That is why the researcher conducted an action research to understand the students better and provide assistance to address the problem. School absenteeism is an alarming problem for administrators, teachers, parents, society in general, and students in particular. Unaccepted absences have a negative effect on peer relationships, which can cause further absences. According to Malcolm, Wilson, Davidson, and Kirk in 2003, teachers identified the effects of absenteeism on children as academic underachievement, difficulty in making friends which could lead to boredom and loss of confidence. Prolonged absence can have deleterious effects for the child in later life. Students who are absent from school are at the greatest risk of dropping out of school early. The researcher tried various approaches to address the absenteeism of the students, specifically non-violent punishment such as letting the absentees to report to the guidance office, and that happened every now and then. That makes the sanction to immunity, and intimidating the absentee students by saying not to be included in the list to be promoted. The United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child believes that corporal punishment is invariably degrading. This is to be remembered by heart by the teachers, that this punishment, and even this non-violent one, must stop. The Department of Education has issued Department Order No. 40, Series 2012, which prohibits the use of corporal punishment and promotes the use of positive discipline in everyday teaching, provides guidance on how to respond to common classroom situations such as absenteeism. A more accurate analysis of why some of the students are perennial absentees to class is the objective of the researcher, so that the teachers could formulate positive discipline approach to minimize their absences. This action research examined the level of absenteeism of students and the outcome of applying positive discipline in everyday teaching, or the PDET, among grade 10 students of Kalinaw, Kalilintad Integrated Peace School in school year 2019 to 2020. This class is the advisory of the researcher and noted the most daily absences of the students gathered from the daily attendance record, DepEd School Form 2, that was kept and regularly filled out by the advisor every day. Let's have the research questions. Specifically, this study sought to answer the following questions. Number 1, what is the level of absenteeism of the learners before and after the implementation of positive discipline in everyday teaching approach, or the PDET approach? And number 2, is there a significant difference between the level of absenteeism of the learners before and after the implementation of positive discipline in everyday teaching approach? For the scope and limitation, the study focused on the level of absenteeism of the 27 grade 10 students of Kalinaw Kalilintad Integrated Peace School, school year 2019 to 2020. Through the daily attendance report, DepEd Form 2, the 6 students were identified as respondents directed with the positive discipline and everyday teaching approach. For the research methodology, sampling, data collection, ethical consideration, and data analysis, all 27 grade 10 students of Kalinaw Kalilintad Integrated Peace School in school year 2019 to 2020 were monitored by their attendance from June to October 2019. For the data collection, the attendance of the 27 grade 10 students of KIKIF's school year 2019 to 2020 was monitored from June to October 2019. Eventually then, with the monitoring of the attendance of the 27 students from June to October 2019, implementing the usual practice in dealing with absences, all 27 grade 10 students were given with a questionnaire that will satisfy the causes of their absences that will also be used in realizing the innovative PDET approach. Firstly, respondents were given with a questionnaire in order by the researcher to recognize the possible reasons why a learner behaves that way. This was the questionnaire given to the 27 grade 10 students entitled, "What are the most common causes of absenteeism?" They are going to place a check mark in the answer box that corresponds to their response. We have here the physical factor. We have the health factor. We have also the personal attitude. We have the teacher-related factors, classroom atmosphere, and the home-related factors. Secondly, after being acquainted with the possible reasons of their absenteeism, implementation of the practice of PDET approach followed, such as setting long-term goals by providing them with warmth to ensure learners that they are physically and emotionally safe. Here is the positive discipline in everyday teaching primer for Filipino teachers. Then, the learners were provided with structure to succeed academically and behaviorally. Lastly, through the given warmth and structure, understanding child development and identifying individual differences followed. Positive discipline is an approach to teaching that helps children succeed, gives them the information they need to learn, and supports their development. It respects children's rights to healthy development, protection from violence, and active participation in their learning. The data were tabulated and interpreted to acquire the actual information needed. The following statistical tools were employed to answer the different problems presented. Number 1, we have the frequency and percentages. These were used to describe the learner's level of absenteeism before and after the implementation of PDET approach. Number 2, mean and standard deviation. These were used to describe the average and variation of the learner's level of absenteeism before and after the implementation of positive discipline in everyday teaching approach. And number 3, the paired t-test. This was used to determine the paired differences between learners' level of absenteeism before and after the implementation of positive discipline in everyday teaching approach. The researcher requested for a permission and approval from the Kalinaw Kalilintad Integrated Peace School principal to conduct a research utilizing the grade 10 students as the respondents. All 27 grade 10 students had consent in answering the questionnaire with confidentiality and privacy. Let's have the research results and discussion. Problem number 1. What is the level of absenteeism of the learners before and after the implementation of PDET approach? We have here table 1. This is the students' level of absenteeism before and after the PDET approach. As we can see, the standard deviation before PDET, before the implementation of the PDET approach, we have here around 1.87. But after the implementation of the PDET approach, we have here the variation of around 0.52. Table 1 presents the comparison of respondents' absences before and after the implementation of PDET approach. Result displays that the respondents before the PDET approach has relatively inclusive difference in the level of absenteeism after the PDET approach. This pertains to say that a clear improvement of the students' level of absenteeism is noted due to the implemented approach that supports the affirmation of Ned Olney, the country director of Save the Children Philippines, that this primer on positive discipline in everyday teaching is meant to support teachers to common situations teachers face on a daily basis. Problem number 2. Is there a significant difference between the level of absenteeism of the learners before and after the implementation of positive discipline in everyday teaching approach? So we have there, table 2, the difference between the level of absenteeism before and after PDET approach. Table 2 presents the paired differences on the learner's level of absenteeism before and after the implementation of the PDET approach. Result shows that there is a significant difference between the learner's level of absenteeism before and after the implementation of the PDET approach, since the p-value does exceed at around 0.05 level of significance. This implies that there is a significant improvement of the learner's level of absenteeism upon the PDET approach implementation that supports the assertion of Kyle Aken, an author in Study.com, that positive discipline is a more effective way to manage misbehaving students in the classroom rather than using punishment or rewards. It allows students to learn and adapt their behaviors to meet expectations in the classroom, while simultaneously teaching them how to make better choices in their path to adulthood. Let's have the research recommendations. Dissemination of findings has been allocated effectively. First, the sharing of the research results was oriented towards the respondents and reflected the purpose of the research. The researcher considered formal and informal collaborations to ensure the best use of resources, time, and funds. Finally, any document used to disseminate findings was being attractive and readable, concise, highlight results, define special terminology, and include graphs, bullet points, or images to break up lengthy amounts of text. The advocacy of the researcher is to let the other educators discern the accountability in us in addressing the behavior of our learners, such that the study will be portioned to co-teachers through School Learning Action Cell or the SLAC, the in-service training or the INSET, and in a research congress. Thank you and God bless everyone.